Dr Jekyll and Mr Hyde. GCSE Grade 9 Answer. How does Stevenson present the idea of duality of human nature in the novel? A central theme in Dr Jekyll and Mr Hyde is the duality of human nature. It is only at the end of the novel the reader discovers the astonishing revelation that Dr Jekyll and Mr Hyde are the same person. It is almost impossible to comprehend, and this makes the reader contemplate the duality of human nature. It was the Gothic genre of the Victorian era that allowed this dichotomy to be introduced. Stevenson differed from most Victorian thinkers and writers by introducing the concept of the duality of human nature, which means every individual has a good side and a bad side to their personality. Dr Jekyll is described as the epitome of Victorian success, respectability, and decency. He is an educated and urbane man from a distinguished family. Dr Jekyll is well dressed, tall, and handsome, with every mark of kindness on his face. Even his home has the pleasantest room in London. In contrast, Mr Hyde has an unhuman appearance and has Satan's signature on his face. He dresses like a pauper and lives in a dubious part of London. No one speaks good of him. Stevenson also uses character names to emphasize the clear differences between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Je is I in French, and je and kill could mean I kill in French. In his confession, Dr. Jekyll talks about how he could kill the monster he created within himself. The name Hyde could imply something hidden. Dr. Jekyll originally wanted to destroy the part of his personality he was trying to hide. However, this sharp contrast between Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is only superficial, because on closer inspection, similarities are evident between the two. Dr. Jekyll always maintains an impeccable public image of himself, but was aware of an immoral side he possessed. Even at the beginning of the novel, he is described as having a slyish cast, which contradicts his good nature and raises doubts in the reader's mind about his immaculate deportment. Indeed, it is a sensible Dr. Jekyll himself who risked his own life when he first drinks the potion in order to become Mr. Hyde. The potion Dr. Jekyll invents after years of scientific research only manifests his evil side. It removes all civilized behavior, creating the sadistic Mr. Hyde. He is ape-like, with no morals, no remorse, or no pity. Mr. Utterson describes him as a troglodyte, which means a primitive creature. However, Mr. Hyde is not an animal, even though he is described as almost unhuman. He lives in London, and perhaps Stevenson is suggesting that civilized and respectful Victorian society had a terrifying dimension to it. It is not a coincidence that Dr. Jekyll's beautiful house is connected to the sinister laboratory. It is only in the final chapter that the theme of the duality of human nature is revealed by Dr. Jekyll. It is interesting how Dr. Jekyll only talks about this in his confession and before he is going to die. When he was giving his pleasant dinner parties, he would have never spoken about the duality of human nature because this would have been unacceptable to most Victorians. In his confession, Dr. Jekyll asserts that man is not truly one, but truly two. And when he tried to separate the two, The results proved to be fatal. Stevenson is demonstrating that everyone is capable of good and evil, and he wanted the Victorian reader to try and understand this combination. If we accept the concept of the duality of human nature, then Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are indeed a single character.